Welcome everyone to the weekly IPFS Dev Sync call. It's July 29th, 2019. And as every week, we first go through the things that we've done and plan to do, and then we discuss whatever needs to be discussed. I'm the first one on the list, so I start with the stuff that I've done. Or I can also paste the script pad into the chat room where we put in the notes. Oh, I forgot, do we have a note taker for today's call?
Yeah, we probably do.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so I guess there won't be that much to write down, but I will see. Okay, so I start with my stuff. So I've mostly done work on the JavaScript side of things, so the DAG protocol buffer stuff. I did a release with many breaking changes, and hopefully this will be the last one for a long time. So I think now the API should be stable. And of course, this needs to bubble up into the Unix FS code base. I've also done the changes there. I haven't pushed PRs yet, but they are on my machine and they work. And during this, I ran into issues with npm link. Everyone who's familiar with npm, there are sometimes problems with linking stuff, and I ran into one of those issues. And I will write a blog post about it because it was quite interesting to me. Although there are many blog posts out there, but I think this is kind of a special case. So I wrote a blog post. It's not published yet, but will be soon. And the final to fix this issue, one solution is to use a project from Hugo called Connect Apps. The short version is what it does is it, instead of linking it, it does an npm pack, which makes a tarball of the dependency, and then installs the tarball. So in the end, it's like a normal npm install from the repository. And this way, you make sure that all the dependency deduplication really works the way it would normally do through an npm install. It's pretty great. It works well. Yeah, and this fixed my problem with failing tests. On the WASM side of things, I've put a bit of thought into how we actually bridge data between the host language, which currently most of the time is JavaScript, and WASM itself, because at the moment you can only pass on pointers. I guess I will start with passing on CBOR, which seems to be a sensible way, as most of the IPLD stuff is based on CBOR anyway. And then on the JavaScript side, you would just need to decode it again. On my OKRs, there is one item saying that I work on a Rust CBOR DAG CBOR encoder and decoder, and the goal is to really see how does the basic data model in IPLD look like in Rust. And so I will work on this, and then this should be then compiled to WASM as well, and then you should be able to even use the CBOR encoder and decoder, the WASM version in JavaScript. Although I found out this probably doesn't really make sense. It won't be faster because you have this burden of, again, bridging the bridging between the WASM and the JavaScript is passing on data is quite difficult because you need to create a JavaScript object out of it, and that's quite expensive. So it probably won't be faster than what we currently have, but it's more of a proof of concept to see if we can really pass on the full IPLD model from and back between JavaScript and WASM. All right, yeah, that's all I have. So updates from other folks. Feel free to update the nodes later on if you like. So, so Rod, can you tell us what you did?
Yeah, so I did. Need to. Sorry, my links in my document. did some work on a thing called bit sequence, which was it's a repo in my GitHub that just takes an arbitrary string of just a byte array, and then you can slice out an arbitrary set of bits from it and turn that into an integer. It's for hamped indexing at different widths. And so I just wrote it as a generic tool where you can say, here's a byte array, here's a bit start and a bit length, and I want to snip out those bits and give me an integer based on it. And it can do even arbitrary lengths in JavaScript, which can get kind of dangerous when you go big. But we only need really up to about 16 bits anyway, so it's not a big deal. So that's working, and a whole lot of tests in there to verify that it's doing the right thing. And then I did a Go version of it and used the same fixtures. So I wrote the JavaScript tests and outputted a fixture file that had what it was testing, and then I imported that into Go and then tested it, so I was getting the same thing. So I should be able to use this as a reference point for the hash map spec to say this is how you do indexing. So that's cool. And then I've been also playing with, let me just jot this while I'm thinking about it. NPM package data still, I'm playing with this on an ongoing basis. I've just got stuff churning away in the background, processing and building data structures and seeing what they do. And I wrote up some performance notes in the PL Slack. I want to try and formalize how I'm doing that, or semi-formalize it anyway, so I can come up with some useful numbers about how these things perform and figure out best practice, or at least best practice for this data set anyway, just as a useful reference point for learning. And then the other thing I have been tinkering with is Go. I figured that since I'm using the hash map stuff, the hamped, that I should try and do a Go version of the JavaScript one, so that and then they can again share test data so that they verify that it's working. So just getting more comfortable with Go, getting more comfortable with Eric's Go IPLD Prime. So that's an interesting journey in itself. That's me.
Cool, thanks. Stephen, did you do any IPLD related things?
No.
All right, probably same as every week. But
just watching.
Yeah, but it's good to have you on the call. So at least you are in the loop on what's going on our sides. Do we have anything to discuss this week? Because I don't have anything, but yeah. Rod?
I don't think so.
Yeah, cool. Anything else? If not, then that's a pretty quick meeting.
It's 20 minutes of run day.
Yeah. Cool. Then thanks all for joining. I stopped the recording, so goodbye, everyone.
See y'all.
Bye.